Hey there, Frederick Douglass Elementary School. This is Mrs. Shupard, and today I'm going to be reviewing the basics of lettering. So I'm going to show you how to do a few different types of lettering today. So let's go ahead and get started. Today I'm going to be showing you how to draw different kinds of letters, and this demonstration is going to be for bubble letters and block letters and 3D letters. The first type I want to show you is bubble letters, because bubble letters are the easiest letters to do if you don't know how to do any of the other types of letters. If you're a beginner for your lettering, you're going to start with a letter that you already know how to draw. So start with a capital letter, and you're going to draw a bubble around it. When I say bubble, I mean all the lines are going to be curved. When you're doing bubble letters, there's no straight lines, there's no pointy angles or sides or shapes, so it's always going to be rounded. So you round around the top, round around the bottom, round on the inside, and connect it back around. For the inside of the A here, you're just going to draw a circle, and then in order to get the bubble letter, you get your eraser and you erase away the letter that you already had. Once you erase that regular letter away, you are left with a bubble letter. So that's your bubble letter A. Let me show you again. So if we're going to do the bubble letter B, first you're going to draw a regular letter B. And then you draw a bubble around it. So you start here and round the corners. Make sure that you don't have a corner. See how on a regular letter B there's a corner here? When you're doing a bubble, you don't want it to be a corner. You want it to round around the corner. And you go in and you round it inside there, and then you connect it back. And for the inside of the B, you do circles. Once you have that, you erase your regular letter B. And you are left with a bubble letter B. Let's do it one more time with the letter C. So when you're drawing the regular letter, the first letter that you're drawing, remember that you want to draw that kind of lightly. You don't want to press down really hard, because if you do, when you go to erase it away, you're still going to see it, and you don't really want to see it. So you're going to do the letter C very lightly, and then when you do your bubble, you're going to curve it around, and then curve it around on this side, and then you go all the way back around and connect it. Then you erase your original letter C, and you're left with the bubble letter C. Now once you get better at drawing the letters, then you won't have to draw the original letter. You'll be able to just draw from your memory, and you'll know which way to draw the lines to just do a bubble letter right away. So if I'm doing a bubble letter D, I already know how to do it just from my memory. A, B, C, D, E. Let's do an E. I'm going to curve it around here, curve it around here, and all of these lines that are on the inside of the E are curved. None of these should be sharp and pointy. They should all be rounded. Same thing for the letter F. Now, one cool thing that I want to show you when you are coloring bubble letters is that you can draw some little shapes inside to make it look like the light is reflecting off of it. So it looks like a bubble, or it even looks kind of like a balloon. So if you draw almost like these little jelly bean shapes on the corners, and if you're gonna have a light source, you're going to have all of your little jelly beans on the same corner. So that would be like if your light was coming and shining on the letters from this side, you're going to want to have it shining on the same side of each letter. So I can't draw my jelly bean over on this side of the C if it's always going to be on the same side. Make sure that you don't have it in the wrong spot. And then you can easily color around that light reflection. So color around it and make sure that that little jelly bean stays white on the inside. And the same thing for any circles that you might have. Those want to stay white as well, so you go around it. Also, when you are coloring with colored pencils, I showed you this last week when we were drawing the dragon and we were coloring the dragon. You can use some of those same techniques. For example, you can take your colored pencil and press harder around the outside of the letter to make it darker around the outside. And then you can press lighter when you're coloring on the inside. And that makes it look even more like a bubble or like a balloon. Now for block letters, when you're first learning how to draw block letters, you're going to use the same technique that I just showed you for bubble letters. You're going to draw the letter that you already know how to draw. So let's do a capital A. And instead of drawing all curved lines like you would for the bubble letters, this time you're going to draw all straight lines. Well, mostly all straight lines. So for the A, you're going to draw a straight line that goes across the bottom. You're going to draw a straight line that goes around the top, down the other side, straight across the bottom, up into the middle, and back down and connect it. For the inside, instead of drawing a circle this time, we don't want to have any curved lines in there, so we're just going to draw a triangle. Now that we have the block letter, we're going to erase the original letter, and you are left with a block letter A. Now, some of the letters that have curved lines, like a B, if you're just drawing a regular letter B, it does have curved lines on it. You can do all straight lines for a block letter B if you want to, but it does kind of look a little strange. So if you wanted to do all straight lines, the block letter B would look like this. If you want to do the other kind, you can have some curved lines, but every time you get to a corner, you want to make sure that it's not rounded. You want to make sure there's an actual corner there. So straight line here to follow the same line as a regular B. This goes straight over so that you have a nice corner here, and then it can curve around and go back to your straight line on the back. And inside here, instead of drawing these rectangles inside, I'm going to draw little letter D's. There's a letter D. Here's a letter D. And now I'm ready to erase the original B that I had. And now I have a block letter B. Let's try letter C. Draw a regular letter C, and since we don't want to have this curved like we did last time with the bubble letters, we want to make sure that there's corners on it. So go ahead and draw those corners that are going to go around the letter C. So this is still going to be curved, curve around the letter C on the outside. Make sure you have your corners. And then this is going to curve around the inside of the letter C. And then you can erase the original C. And now you have a block letter C. And you can continue doing that for the rest of the alphabet. Once you know how to draw block letters, you'll be able to do it without drawing the original letter and having to erase it away, because you'll remember that you need to have these sharp edges around the corners of the letters, and you'll be able to draw it from memory. So for example, I can draw the letter D with another letter D on the inside, and now I have a block letter D. If I want to do the letter E, I already know I have to go straight across the top, down, straight across the bottom, and then for the inside of the letter E, I already know that I have to have these little rectangle shapes. So I didn't have to draw an E on the inside because I already knew from memory how to draw around and make a block letter. For coloring the block letters, you don't have to do anything fancy like with the bubble letters, because you don't necessarily have to have like the light reflecting off of it, so you can just color them just normally however you would want to color them with colored pencils or crayons or markers. And now for 3D letters. 3D letters are going to be very similar to block letters, but you're going to add something to the block letter in order to make that letter look three-dimensional. So if I'm going to be doing a letter A block letter, I just draw the block letter like I normally would, and then I'm going to draw lines that come off of one side, and then I'm going to draw a straight line to connect it, and then I'm going to draw the same lines coming out of this side and also on the inside of the A. You only want to draw it on one side. I do not want to draw another shadow on this side. Let's just say that the sun is coming from this side, it's shining on the letter A, and now I have a shadow. So the shadow is only going to be on one side of the letter. If you're standing outside and you see your shadow, you only see the shadow on one side of the body, where your body is blocking out the light from the sun. The same thing is going to happen here for your three-dimensional letters. So you only want to have the shadow coming on one side of the letter. So if it's going to be on the left side, then you also have to have it on the left side here and on the left side of this part of the A, just like if it was a shadow. You can use your pencil to color in that shadow, or you can use a black colored pencil or a black crayon, just anything that you want to use to make that look darker and make it look like a shadow. If you want to get fancy, you could even use a different color. So let's say, for example, I wanted to color my letter A with yellow and then I wanted to use a darker color to color the shadow, I could use like a purple or a dark blue, and then that would still make your letter look three-dimensional even if you use a different color. But I would select a color that's darker than the color that you want to choose for your letter. There's another way that I want to show you how to do three-dimensional letters. And so let's go ahead and do a letter B in block letters. And we're going to do that same shadow. It's going to come off of the left-hand side, and then I'm going to draw the line here, and I'm going to give a little shadow on the left side of each of the little D's that I have here, and that already makes that B look three-dimensional. I could add something else. I could add lines that come out and basically just make like stripes on the inside of the shadow. Instead of coloring in the shadow completely with my pencil, I'm just drawing some stripes, and that will still make your letter look three-dimensional. So that's just another idea that you could use. So let's do one more letter. Let's do the letter C. Do a regular block letter C, and then come around with that shadow on the left-hand side. And let's color this one to see what it looks like if you were going to use colors. So like I said before, you could use like a yellow colored pencil. You could use crayons or markers, it doesn't matter, and color in the original block letter with that color. And if you want it to look more three-dimensional, I would choose like a lighter color, and then choose a darker color for the shadow part. So I'm going to choose purple, and let's just see what that looks like. All right, looks pretty good. So that's how you would do letters to make them three-dimensional. Okay, so if you just do a Google search on bubble letters and block letters and 3D letters, you can very easily get that to come up on your computer. In case you don't want to do that, I have them here for you. So I just Google searched bubble letters, and this is what came up. So if you want to pause the video, then that way you'll have an example of every letter of the alphabet for bubble letters. And then here is what happened when I Google searched block letters. So if you want to practice doing block letters, you can just pause the video here, and then you'll be able to see all the letters in the alphabet for block letters. And let me just minimize this. And here are all the 3D letters. And for some reason, I noticed on this example that I found online that the W is actually going the opposite direction of all the other letters. Remember when I showed you how to do the shadow, and we were doing the shadow on the left-hand side for all the letters, and this example does show the shadow on the left-hand side except for the W. So make sure if you have a W that you're drawing, that you draw the shadow on the other side. Once you've practiced the entire alphabet, one thing that I like to do is draw my name. So that's something that you can do and practice your lettering, is drawing your name. And the more times you draw your name, the better your letters are going to get. So that is something that I would love for you to practice at home and then post on Schoology. Schoology has all of the assignments for the art videos that I've been doing, so you can upload pictures of what you've been drawing at home if you go on Schoology and click on your art class. The last thing that I want to talk about before I go for today is the yearbook. If you are interested in buying a yearbook for this school year, make sure you go on to the Frederick Douglass website and go to the news and announcements section. You're going to have to scroll down a little bit and you're going to have to click on show all. And after you click on show all, you'll be able to scroll down and find the section where you can buy a yearbook online. And the yearbooks are going to be on sale until May 5th. So you still have a few more weeks to get a yearbook if you want to buy one online. All right, I'll see you next time.